Sour cream and onion. Hey,
Hey there, all you lovely little listeners. Thanks for tuning in to our funky little airwaves. We'd like to welcome you to the Sour Cream and Onion Podcast, Season 2, New and Improved. We hope you enjoy the smooth sounds of improv from our little tribe who could not improvise, with a script before their very eyes, making their way through existence with no prior experience. Let's get you acquainted with the host who will be taking care of you this week.
Yeah. I'm Sour, contrarian, adversary, and the voice of power.
Yo, what's up? I'm Cream, smooth talking, show stopping, comedy killing machine.
I'm Onion, metalhead, critic red, legendary like Paul Bunyan.
And I'm Whiskey, risky and crispy. Don't try to diss me.
All right, Whiskey.
Now, you guys are probably wondering what we're doing today. You guys want to hear about Cyberpunk?
What?
Yeah,
Cyberpunk?
CD Projekt Red's masterpiece.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
What a
yeah.
cool aesthetic.
Yeah, the game came out. Like, the whole game came out, like, a few days ago, actually. On
Yeah,
the 26th of September. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
game
I-
finally came out.
26th
they
of
decided-
September 2023, they finally released the game.
Yeah, they decided to, like, delay the game so that the developers can get, like, all their, like, efforts into this game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and finally give everyone what they wanted. Like, a
Yeah.
fully complete game with no glitches whatsoever.
And just-
Mhm.
In the words of Gaben, after 9 long years, I hope it will have been worth the wait.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, CD Projekt Red, like,
Cyberpunk 2077, known as Half-Life 3.
yeah, but at least this one came out,
Well,
Yeah.
this is Half-Life
Can't
3,
argue with
so
that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and it was worth the wait. So, completely ignoring Cyberpunk 2077's 2020 release. You guys want to
Early
hear about
access release.
the early access?
Early
release?
access, yeah. Beta.
Yeah. It was very daring for CD Projekt Red to leave the game to the people who bought
Yeah.
the game and be the QA testers until this game was fully complete. 2.0
Crazy.
has now come out with Phantom Liberty, and I think it's time for everyone to get caught up on the story.
Yep.
Everyone here,
So-
I'm ready.
So, are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's get into Cyberpunk 2077, the story so far. Okay, but first of all, we need to establish some foundations. The world of Cyberpunk. Now, lots of worlds are in Cyberpunk, and we have to, like, get an idea of what that is, okay? So,
Like that
the
man
dead
eating.
giveaways of a world like Cyberpunk, what are they? The big ones are, there's, like, huge, literally huge mega corporations out there with control over every single thing. Your security system, your networks, your Wi-Fi, literally everything they've made. Like,
Oh,
imagine
God.
like Amazon if they made like a huge building that stretches like a mile high and like completely consumes like a whole city block. Imagine that.
Imagine
And they had
Google
like a
and the
giant
CIA
blimp
had
just
Love
like
Child.
dispersing a bunch of
Imagine the
like
government.
packages to you. You know? You're like, wow, this is cool, but also, damn, do they have like a lot of control over the sky right now? You know? So that's one. The other component of Cyberpunk is cyberware. Now, like, everyone likes technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if it was fused to your body and it can do like cool stuff, like make you smash a wall with your fists? You know, pretty cool, right? Or like hack into like the mainframe or like any server with like your brain. That's pretty sick. Not
You
gonna
know,
lie.
all those duels you would make in middle school where you'd be like, "Oh, I've lost my arm." Like, you make a like super edgy backstory for yourself, and you make like this like duel. You have like a cybernetic arm or leg that can like do crazy stuff.
Mhm.
This is Cyberpunk.
Basically. And in this world, check it out. In this world, it's like the thing that happens. It's like as common as like a new pair of socks. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you
Well,
see
that's
someone with like a new faceplate one day and like a newer one the other day, it like basically like swapping out an iPhone. It's like, and no one would blink, like or like even do like a
That's
double take.
disgustingly common.
That's like
swapping an
the
iPhone.
thing, you know? It was just pretty cool, not gonna lie. Also, like, I remember one thing that like reminded me of like the world of Cyberpunk that we were like steadily walking towards is like when I was like really young, I saw some dude with like a prosthetic leg and how it was like really closely matching to his skin tone. But then like years later, like in 2012, I see like a couple kids who like displayed like their new tech, which is basically like a new prosthetic arm. It was like fully black, like carbon fiber. I'm like, yo, we just said screw
That
it, we're
sounds
going
sick as
Cyberpunk.
shit.
Yeah, I was like, that's awesome.
Mhm.
We're
Oh, man.
heading there.
Yo, check out the swouts on this guy.
But I feel it's not going to be as like cool as this world is 77 because not only do they like have cybernetic limbs, but they can break stuff they can break full walls and
Wow.
disable mainframes and like overall like look any way that they want. This is very interesting. Okay, but other than that, what else? Extreme wealth disparity. Now, when it comes to powerful mega corporations, there comes a lot of money. And with all that money going to one place, a lot of people are poor. And that leads to a world of crime. So in these high-rise buildings where all these corporation people are looking like down at the ground, you know, from their like decadent like apartment like penthouses, you have crime. Like people who have no money, who have to resort to stealing other people's money in order to survive. And in this specific world of Cyberpunk, your name is V, and your role is a mercenary. Okay?
Mhm.
Any questions so far?
No, it makes sense.
I mean, it seems like we've already got all of these bullet points in our real world, just slightly toned down.
Yeah. Except for
Especially in
Chicago.
cyberware.
It's
Tone it
not
down.
exciting at all. Like
We
if you're
got
gonna,
we got all the worst elements of cyberpunk.
yeah, exactly. They have all the money, but we have none of the cyberware.
I'm sort of thinking
Yeah.
like the whole time I was thinking about like the classic immersive sims and everything, and like how with V, and because you said he's basically a mercenary who just does whatever to survive. Sort of with like this also with a like a I don't give a crap attitude and everything from what I've played of it, and it sort of reminds me of like Garrett from Thief, where he's like he lives in like this world where there's like this advanced machinery and this wealth disparagement where the reason why he became a thief is because he just wants dinner the next day.
He's
And
going to
Yeah.
get it by any means necessary.
yeah,
Except in V's role, you want to be like the best.
Yeah.
And not only the best is because you come to this city
Mhm.
because it's called the City of Dreams.
Yeah.
You're a dreamer and you want to hit the big leagues. Whatever that means to you, like we don't know. Have at it.
yep.
Like
If that
Yeah.
means just hitting one home run, you go for it. Got it.
yeah. So with that being
Mhm.
said, let's talk about the cyberware.
Ooh.
This is the cool stuff, okay? None of that wealth disparity stuff. We'll talk about the cool cyberware. Okay. So
Don't
with-
you need money to get cyberware?
yeah,
Yeah.
Doesn't that
or
come
you
into
can
wealth?
you can find them, you know, through several means outside of the
Yes.
legal realm.
Be sure to check out our second cyberpunk lecture
Yeah.
on wealth disparity, income inequality.
Yeah, because that's gonna make for such an interesting lecture.
Wealth disparity and how
Might
that
as well
impacts culture
might
is
as
our
well
next
just be on the stage doing a TED talk.
I got to catch up on my Noam Chomsky if we're going to do that.
doom doom doom.
Yeah, which that reminds me, I left out the what was it, manufactured consent on that with on that part of the lecture,
Yeah.
but we'll just move on from
Uh-huh.
there. Okay,
The
so with
dog's agreeing.
cyberware, we've got a ton of different varieties of cyberware. But first, let's get into combat. So with combat, we went into like cybernetic limbs that allow you to like bust through walls with your arms. But there's also launchers that you can like strap to your wrist to shoot anything from like grenades, missiles, or even like a tranquilizer dart. You know, basically used for like I'd say
No, that was
I'd say like military from like in that universe.
Mhm.
What was that?
yeah, that was extreme deceleration or whatever you fucking call it. De-escalation.
Yeah, we de-escalated.
You fire
Sometimes
missiles. You
sometimes we don't need to fire
military
missiles.
grade stuff. You fire tranquilizer darts.
shooting tranquilizer is basically the pacifist run of Cyberpunk.
Oh my gosh, Metal Gear Solid Run.
Yeah. So with that, you also
MS3,
have like
MS3.
Sandevastans, which is like pictured in the first image right here. In the a Sandevastan is basically used for slowing down time, or as not really slowing down time, but more so increasing your reaction speed to the point where everything else looks so slowed, and you're able to move quick. This is,
The most
I think,
broken one.
in my
again.
opinion, one of the most cool pieces of cyberware I've seen in the anime and the world itself in the game. It's awesome. Now we have a cosmetic
cool.
pictured in the bottom photo, which could either be for like different looks, like pictured here. Some people actually go as far as to like take a faceplate, like the bottom jaw, like to like look different completely, which is really crazy. But like I said, in the world, like it's pretty much just
How do you
common.
live after that surgery?
How do you live?
I guess that's people who live.
you
without
live
bottom
with
jaws,
like
just
tubes that
happen.
go down like your throat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you basically
just,
inject it. You're basically food injected.
Oh
like you know they
God.
say like
Oh, it's like having
yeah.
a stomach pump with your mouth.
Yeah, you just have to like
Oh.
pipe it down to like one side of the skull. It's kind of crazy.
You
That's
ready
cool.
for your powder protein shake?
Yum yum
Yeah.
yum.
But it's not just the cosmetic stuff. Like it's
Throw in the
also
vacuum.
could just like be like plating around the face to like for like an armor advantage, which I think is
that's fair.
it's used in like military applications or like mercenary work. Yeah.
Have you
Sometimes
seen?
people even put just a simple studs all over their face.
Oh yeah.
Makes a bit of a fashion statement. But the more extreme version is a full body conversion,
Oh.
which are called Borgs. One of the most signature cases of this is in the game a guy called Atom Smasher.
Yep.
Like over time this guy became more machine than man, and so did even like David from Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
David Silverfield. Yeah.
Yeah. So Noralware,
Martinez.
this one
If it's David
I
Martinez,
I
actually,
really
that
can't
is correct.
describe with a picture, but Neuralware, which involves dolls, is basically a dolls is a term that is attributed to a person that has a specific chip installed in their brain that makes them act in a way that is like when you like run like a specific .exe on someone to like perform like the most killer dance moves kind of thing, or like the more sensual stuff. That's just why they're called dolls. Or do phone calls for people who are of high importance that do not want to be traced. And any memory of this action is basically completely wiped after doing the action. Hence why they're called dolls. This is just
They
used
really
as a vessel.
made robocalls way more complicated than they need to be.
You got mail.
Yeah, basically. And previously mentioned cyberdecks for hacking to like bring down complete mainframes. These devices are kind of like attached to the near the ice, like I'd say like near the temple, and activate as like a hologram, like where your eyes are at to hack into like any access point, whether it be a camera, a computer, or literally someone else's brain, which is insane because how decked out everyone is when it comes to cyberware. Yeah. If you guys had some cyberware, which would you choose?
Santa, freaking Quicksilver Sans Devastan. Why would you choose anything else? It's the most overpowered Sans Devastan you have.
That's
If I
pretty
could
sick.
choose, but
Get around
also,
places really fast.
oh yeah,
I'd be a
man, bro,
I would choose
traffic would
an
be a
optical.
breeze.
I would choose an optical camo.
That's pretty
Just be
cool.
invisible.
I just like the
Another
idea
thing-
of hacking anything I want, really. Like
Hacking's pretty
Yeah,
Oh gosh, you're a
because-
menace.
I'll just be able to access any information that's related to technology that I want through my
Anya, are you
mind.
the CIA?
I could access the CIA. I can access all sorts of.
Stop
I could
talking. They're
access. I could create another GigaLeak.
listening.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, you like that leak, huh? I'm
Yeah,
sorry, it's a meme.
Yeah, with
All right,
that
wait.
in mind, it also comes
Yeah, I
with a
didn't share
risk
yet.
because you have to get through the intrusion countermeasures. Because, I mean, you may have the ability to hack literally anything, but the most important information will be locked away by the strongest security you can think of. So as much as you want to like leak the next Nintendo console,
Mhm.
like Nintendo's like intrusion countermeasures will probably short circuit your brain if you even so much as like get through the first like wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is kind of sick. Like seeing that you can hack, not only they can hack you back and probably like overheat you to death in the process.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cool concept.
Yeah.
High risk, high reward.
Mhm.
Though, to be 100% honest, knowing how you have to get these implants put in, how painful it is, especially from Edge's anime. Shout out to that. Watch it. It's really good. I would rather not get any implants at all. I would be the most typical of typical ass human. I don't care. I feel like that would make me special in a different way. But like I could not do that. That's extremely painful and disgusting looking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
More
with
power
that in
to
mind,
everyone wants to do it.
so now we get to the story. So your story as V comes with like 3 different life paths that you take, with like you either choosing to be like a nomad who is leaving their nomad family behind as they are absorbed into a new nomad family. So at this point, you're crossing the border into Night City's like jurisdiction, and you're transporting some like important cargo that a client has like basically like asked for. And with this in mind, you get like a view of what the life is like outside of the city.
Like a
You know?
typical person?
Well, basically like someone who is like never experienced Night City and its like hectic lifestyle. You know? Yeah. So with that, you're
A downright dystopian lifestyle.
yeah, the downright dystopian lifestyle is like not that big a thing until you cross into the city lines.
Yeah.
But while you're carrying this precious cargo, you have to go through border security, and it's just as much of a hassle as you think
Mhm.
in this dystopian landscape.
it's like trying to get out of Canada.
Yeah.
Love to know that they haven't improved border security at all
Woo!
Yep.
Let's go, baby!
in 54 years.
Yeah, the problem
Oh,
is
God.
this is a new type of border security, considering the United States has been completely fractured, in which Texas is its own nation.
That makes sense.
Of course, it'd be
The-
Texas.
Of course,
That
it'd be
tracks.
Texas. You can't
Not
leave them
Florida.
out.
Florida probably
Texas and
self-destruct,
Florida are the
actually.
two most likely.
Yeah.
Sometimes
So-
like Maine might just break off one day and no one would notice.
Yeah, so with the
Maine's
with
just
the
like, I'm just
I'ma head out.
Peace. maybe Rhode Island could
Yeah.
be like, maybe no one will notice if
Yeah.
we just like dip.
Like you see, like it actually starts like splitting off from the state.
Won't even register as a
Rhode
blip on
Island
the radar.
just activates a bunch of rockets on the side of the state border and just launches out into the ocean. Becomes an actual
Rhode Island. Rhode
What's going
Island
on
can
the
like
greener
launch off
pastures,
into
buddy?
the ocean, and nobody will notice. But like Florida will like drown itself,
the
like
Boston-
completely sink, and they'll be like, whatever, that didn't matter.
No, the Bostonians would notice. They'd be like, "Where's my favorite Dunkin' Donuts?"
No,
Yeah,
not the
yeah,
Dunkin'
yeah.
Donuts.
Yeah, they'll flip their crap. They'll like get lassos and wrangle Rhode Island back just for the Dunkin'. Because America runs on it.
hmm
Yeah. like
So with the nomad lifestyle, you get like your own like unique car that you have to like not create, but more so like maintain. It's kind of neat. It's not like a mechanic in the game, but it's more of like a personal thing, because with nomads, they don't have anything to call their own besides the people that they're with, and their car is basically like an extension of themselves, which I think is kind of neat. Because like in the other 2 life paths, you don't really get that kind of culture. And Bob also wanted to let you know that a nomad is basically a huge a person who
country
is
kid.
part of like a bunch of other families whose other families connect to a huge conglomerate of peoples whose places have been like completely
Like
taken
actual
over by
nomads, that's what they're-
corporations.
Mhm.
Oh.
Yeah, so with that they have to like literally roam around the entire new United States and its other states that have like divorced from the country. And
Divorced.
yeah, basically more like seceded, you know.
I didn't know
just
when they
trying to
got
look for the
married.
right word.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, you're like basically looking for work. and like your house isn't yours anymore because the corpos own it for their own farming reasons, and you're like, okay, well, time to leave for Night City, and that's what you do. With Street Kid, you go to a different city to find some work, but then end up returning to your roots. And not much to say on that,
Yep.
other than like getting like a nice glimpse of like what it is to talk to people who are living in the city with you, and like knowing that some people are out to dupe you, some of them are out to like scam you, like take your car, and the police know you regularly and they like arrest you. It's like, oh, it's you again, and then they arrest you. Just typical Street Kid stuff.
Typical vagrant.
Yeah, typical. In the corpo lifestyle is, I think, one of my favorites compared to like Street Kid and Nomad. I think corpo is like my favorite. Basically, in this one, you are living as an Arasaka counterintelligence agent, and your role is to basically find lots of dirt on what other corporations are doing. And at one point, you say, I'm going to help one of my colleagues completely like remove someone from a position of power so they can take it.
Jeebus.
But it doesn't end well, and all of your cool cyberware is jacked, and so is your money, and
That's
you're
not
left with
good.
almost nothing. And in all three of these paths, you meet one extremely great companion named Jackie
Charismatic
Wells.
guy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he's cool, but I feel that how do I say it? They did him dirty in the story.
Oh,
I feel
I
like-
I felt awful what happened to him.
Yeah, his quest made me feel really sad, like really bummed out.
Yeah.
Every time it happens.
He
I
had
get
such
sad.
a colorful personality, and then yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we could have had more time with him. But also one of the things I wanted to point here, right here, are the little like posters here.
Mhm.
Substance over style. You got style over substance, and you got necessity over style. These are the fashions of Cyberpunk. Yes, they all have fashion.
Mm.
So in the middle,
Necessity
we ha-
over style is pretty neat.
in the middle we have kitsch. You guys know what kitsch is?
Yeah, like pretty like getting down to the very basics of something without getting the correct meaning of it.
Yeah, basically, kitsch here is represented as like one of the most aggressive fashions
Yeah.
in the Cyberpunk universe, where everyone's wearing bright colors and fabrics and materials that seem like really out of place.
Mhm.
Like instead of going for cotton, we're going for like polyester and like latex, like on some articles of clothing that would seem like really out of place. You know what I mean? Some gold insets on the collars, stuff like that. Even adding like an LED like on the back collar of your
Oh, a fucking
like,
gaming
on the
computer.
back collar of your jacket, kind of thing.
Mhm.
You're a walking gaming computer at that point.
Yeah.
Got my REG
it
tabs
basically the style is to get your attention.
Yep.
And boy, does it. Yeah. So on the left side we have entropism, which is like one of the first styles. And in this one, it's basically it's basically harkening back to like the Fourth Corporate War, which is like recent in the Cyberpunk universe between two factions, Militech and Arasaka.
Mhm.
And everything it represents is basically old, gray, decrepit areas where people just can't afford to like modernize. Whereas in the previous one I mentioned, kitsch, it's basically like excess, like with bold colors, bright plastic, accessibility kind of thing. Basically it's saying like, hey guys, even though the stock market crashed, we're gonna brighten the world with all our clothes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Kitsch in the middle is one of the is the oldest of the styles here, while entropism is the one that follows after. The third one is I believe it's called sorry, I'm a bit nervous on this. You guys mind if I take a moment?
Take another sip. Yeah, take another sip.
Yeah, you may take a sip. Yeah.
Good old whiskey.
All right. Oh, also, before I get on to the rest of these, Entropism, the first one on the left, is Nomad.
Mhm.
The middle, Kitsch,
Yeah.
is supposed to be Street Kid. And the third one is basically supposed to be the Corpo life path. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying,
Yeah.
right?
You definitely see it in each one, just kind of like how you kind of have like the warmer tones of like on the left of the Nomad, kind of like these like down to earth people, just kind of like making best of their lives. You got the super poppy, bright neon colors of the Street Kids, and then
Yeah.
the absolute
And the third
just
one, we have
plainness.
neo-militarism.
Yeah,
This is
neo-
it.
Mhm.
It's
that is
sleek and it's
black and white.
domineering with its
It's pretty
style.
cool.
It's got that black and red aesthetic.
The
You
black
know?
and white, yeah,
Mhm.
it gets like
Yeah,
that
black and white.
that very clean, sanitized look.
Gives me
Yeah,
Mirror's
it's
Edge
power
Catalyst
dressing for the
vibes.
people who are already powerful. It has like that air of like luxury, but in a practical sense.
Yeah,
Where it's like not overdoing it with the middles, like bright
like
colors.
Hunger Games, like anti-Hunger Games, like stuff or something.
Yeah, the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah,
big
lots
fan
of
the
like
Nomad, honestly.
various militias in Night City sport this kind of style.
Mhm.
And so does like Arasaka, Militech, and other various mercenaries. It's very imposing.
Mhm.
And it that serves as like as a weapon, you know? Like having this kind of style does kind of intimidate you. Like the first one seems humble, the second one just seems like extremely like flary. The third
Out
one is
there,
just like lacking any sort of like flamboyancy, and it's basically just it's basically security guard outfit.
This is also in. I don't want to jump too far ahead.
Mhm.
Does this kind of like also impact the story, the background you kind of choose?
I wouldn't
like,
say
or-
so. You all have like your own like different like types of like fashions, but you can choose anything that you
Because
want.
for whatever reason, I feel like the one on the left will give you the good ending, then the middle one's the neutral ending, the right one's the bad ending. But like that's just. I feel like I don't know if that's like what the cover art's trying to purvey, or it's just trying to give you the sense of fashion, and it doesn't exactly mean it affects.
It's trying to give you a sense of the world,
Yeah. Okay.
and I think that's what it does.
it does
like,
it really well.
Here's outside the city, here's in the middle of the city, and the right is like who controls the city.
Yeah. The like higher ups, like this is the top of the city.
Yeah. So yeah, next slide. We have V's story. Now, V's story is put into a 3-act structure, as they put. So, in the first act of the story, you do your life path, and then you meet Jackie, and then you and Jackie decide to do some mercenary work, because it might suit you, and you go and do lots of missions, whether it be like small gigs that people ask you to do, like fixers in the area say, we want you to collect this shard from someone in Watson. And in the main story, you go through a job for a specific fixer who ends up burning you, which is like really
that
not to
sucks.
my liking. And then in Act 2, you meet Johnny, and Johnny showing up is a result
He's the
of
guy that you don't wanna get caught
participating
with.
in a gig, which
Yeah.
ends up going horribly wrong. And the soul of a dead rocker boy is pretty much chipped in, it's slotted into your brain, and you have him just giving his funniest quips and advice, and also roasting you in all the in every single thing that you do. But then you realize your time is limited. You have that chip in your brain, and
You're
that
on-
chip
you're
in
on a
your
clock
brain
now.
is basically a ticking time bomb. So what will you do? You will do everything that you need to do to survive. In Act 3, it's all or nothing. And based on that, you have a few choices to make. But without going into before we go into those choices, let's look at a bit of the factions, okay? Just to get give everyone an
Yeah.
idea of where we are in this universe and who is
More
in this
world
universe.
building.
We got the megacorps. We have companies like Biotechnica. We have, but they don't have much of a military force, so I decided not to include them.
Oh,
You know. And
That's
we
fair.
have Arasaka and Militech. These are the two biggest power players in the universe when it comes to mega corporations. Arasaka is a Japanese-based company that has moved overseas and is basically responsible for giving Night City its independence as its own small city,
or city, yeah.
which is basically its own little country. Militech is sponsored by the new United States, and they're always inching closer and closer to this territory because they want it. Despite the fact that Arasaka had determined that Night City can be its own independent region, the NUSA is not willing to let that go. So they're always at odds with each other. There's been like 4 corporate wars, and by the end of the 4th one, these are the only 2 that are left standing in terms of power. And then you have all the other gangs that are just doing their own thing, like the regional gangs, the Scavengers. Scavengers at the top. They are basically the Russians. They're just the Russians. They always speak in Russian.
You want to go steal from city?
You can be in this club if you want, but it's only if you're okay with stealing cyberware from literally anybody, which results in the death of the people whose cyberware you've stolen.
I wonder how you didn't die. Now knowing that, how did you not die in the Corfo like background? If you got all your money and your cyberware taken away, it's like, oh, let me take your spine out real quick. Right,
it's more so that your cyberware was not like taken away, but more so like deactivated, like an HP printer. It's like the trial runs out, you can't print ink with their cartridge kind of thing.
Yeah, I get that new license.
Which is literally an actual thing. I have an HP printer and I can't print because my trial ink is expired. Not the ink itself, but the time in which I have time to use the ink has expired, which means they've locked off the rest of the ink.
Huh.
Yeah. Standard corporation procedure nowadays.
Never heard of that.
Like I said, we're getting closer to that cyberpunk future, but not with the cool stuff. Just awful.
Okay, question. What is the guys in the middle between Arasaka and Militech?
Oh, I'll get to them. But we'll continue with the regional gangs.
Are they like the
top to
neutral?
bottom.
They're the furries.
Oh,
they're
fuck!
The furries.
Should have known.
Yeah, that's why they're on the same.
They have all the money. They're the most powerful.
That's why they're in the same like league as Militech and Arasaka. They have the most money.
The furries gained so much power that they're able to compete with the 2 other mega corporations.
Yeah, exactly. Like Militech, Arasaka are in the middle of a war.
Such a sad state of affairs.
The furries just like come out, like just like start riving up like super dramatic fashion, like through a sandstorm.
Yeah, the cyberpunk future is really
Everyone
scary.
Stops to look.
Considering that. So with the next one on the list, we have Maelstrom. Maelstrom is a gang that is obsessed with cyberware to the point where they look like humans, like basically cyborgs, in the sense that what you look at is like a monster of metal, but with just holding a bit of human flesh. The fact that most of these people haven't gone like cyber psycho is astounding, but I think it's because they have like enough of the drugs that they use in the game to keep themselves from like losing their sanity.
We know enough cocaine can keep you sane.
It's not cocaine. It's more powerful stuff, like black lace.
Yeah, they look
black.
They look
lace.
Glitter.
Jet.
They look pretty metal, literally.
Yeah. Yeah, they're one of the first gangs that you encounter.
Yeah, there's the people with they want
your friend,
the drone. Yeah.
Yeah, your friend Jackie hates them so much. You know, they also have like a bit of like a power struggle between 2 members, Royce and Brick. You know, you'll get to that in the story, but I don't want to spoil like everything. Yeah. So the next on the list is the Bar Guests, who are a recent addition to the game because of the new DLC that came out. Cyberpunk, Phantom Liberty DLC.
Yeah.
Nice. What emblem are
they? They are basically old Militech soldiers that were told by the NUSA president to capture a place called Dogtown. And once they captured it, one of the higher-ups in charge basically took this sub-district for himself. And any mercenaries and people looking for work that wanted to joined up and basically just made their own group. So they hold their own little like piece of turf in Pacifica. Yeah. Another gang on the list are the Tiger Claws, which are I'd say one of the worst when it comes to like soundtracks. Like if it's like ones I hate to fight, it's them, because their
They're
soundtrack
mad.
Wushu Dolls is not my favorite. I think Scavenger Hunt by the Scavengers is much more fun to like shoot to.
It's just a better track in general.
Yeah. They're in a big quest that involves one of your friends, Judy, and they kind of determine the fate of whether or not this one place that I don't know if I want to say what they are, but basically like they own like several like brothels in the area. Basically, what I'm trying to say, and you have to like help Judy like liberate one of them. And depending on how this goes, it could either be a good thing or it could be a really, really bad thing. Like it's either bad or it's worse. And
Oh, that's well,
as in the world of Cyberpunk is, I feel like there's no like real good ending you get.
everything is so gray in Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
So it's yeah.
Yeah, what gets even stranger is the Voodoo Boys, who initially were a group that was a poser gang. So basically, a poser gang in Cyberpunk is a group of gang members that seek to portray themselves as like what their title suggests. Like there are people who are literally genetically modified in the universe to look like John F. Kennedy in the old board games.
Mm.
But the Voodoo Boys are more so about like worshiping malicious AIs within the black wall
So they
of the
almost try
first
to make
data crash that happened in the universe.
So
That
they
could
go
be
and-
its own subject.
So do they try to go and make people get like cyber psychosis?
No, they don't. They more so just look into the net, search for AIs, and give the AIs what they want.
Weaponize them.
Weaponized AIs are already a thing. They just want to be given more and more data, whether that be from someone's like toaster, refrigerator, or someone's like literal like cyber deck that's
I know,
fused
and
with
you
their
jack
brain.
them.
Is the kind of stuff that they deal with. Especially one of the AIs that they want to see contact with, Alt Cunningham, which is a very important character that should be saved for a later date.
Okay.
Yeah. Other than that, we have one of the more chill gangs out there, the Aldecados. Like the Aldecados are basically nomads who are very welcoming, not gonna lie. Like
They
so
seem
their
to be.
nomad lifestyle is like extremely different from the Night City life. You know, you hang out with them. They go do things like raid like other like terrible nomads like the Wraiths,
Mhm.
which is like a very good thing because you know bad nomad gangs kind of give all the nomads a bad rep, and the Aldecados are the good nomads, and they want to give everyone
A good rep.
like
They
the
wanna give
impression
everyone a
that
fighting
nomads
chance.
are good and they only are searching for work. But if there is a corporation that is caught with their pants down, they are definitely going to go in and take all the tech because mega corporations kind of have it
Have it
deserve
coming.
to be
Yeah.
treated that way.
Mm.
You kind of
Yeah.
had this coming.
The next gang on the list is the Sixth Street gang. They are basically mercenaries that retired from like the fourth corporate war and have like basically sought each other as like family, and what they do is like protect the streets from like other gangs, but this at the same time they don't mind like bullying like other people if they need to. Yeah,
What is that-
basically
what does that
that's like
entail?
the veteran gang.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, kind of like Bargus,
Or
but
Harley
like not
Davidson
as
veteran.
not as like harmful.
With cybertech.
Yeah. The Valentinos are the V right there with the roses. They are basically the Latin gang, you know, in the game. You know, just
Huh.
yeah, just like the street gang that keeps you safe from all the other gangs.
This is getting more and more mundane. This like, oh yeah, this two people trying to control the world, and then you got like these guys just chilling.
You know, it's regional gangs can only do so much.
That's
You
fair.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Sixth Street gang protects like some of some of one region, and you know, like Valentinos do the other, and Afterlife, which I think is the coolest like faction to like talk about because they are basically a bunch of mercs looking to make a name for themselves, taking any jobs, looking for the highest rep so they can do even crazier, higher risk jobs. and one of the bartenders makes drinks after people who have like snuffed it, basically.
Question. Are you allowed to join any faction in game or Megacorp or anyone? You're allowed. You can. That's all listed here.
Unfortunately, I would say no, but you do work for
Aw.
them.
Oh,
You know, like with Arasaka, you have worked for them in the past. Militech, you fight them. Maelstrom, you can make a deal with them. Scavengers, you make deals. It's really just all deal making. The only gang I'd say you can join is the Aldecado
you're
gang.
an independent contractor.
At some point, you did work for the Valentinos. So did Jackie.
Oh, okay.
And so there are connections, but for the most part, you just make deals and you fight them. Only a couple you've actually joined. Yeah, other factions and not listed are the mercenaries, which are basically just people who are like to freelance their work for corporations or important individuals, and the Mox, who are a self-defense gang that one of your friends used to be with. Basically, what they do is just keep this one place safe, this one nightclub, Lizzie's.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Wow, real cool guys.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
sometimes
one place.
self-defense gang sounds much better than the ones that just like shake you down for your cyberware.
No, that's great. I'm just saying. No, that's not the problem. I'm saying just one club. That's it. I'm like, you guys could expand a little bit.
There's only so much you can do with your numbers. Don't
Are they,
want to
like,
spread
really-
yourself
are they
too
one-
thin.
Are they the smallest faction? Is that why?
I'd say regarding that, they are the smallest faction. You
Okay,
don't
that
see
makes
them
sense
anywhere
then.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Voodoo Boys and Bargas have huge roles in the sub-district of Pacifica with Phantom Liberty. So, do you have any questions on this? Any more?
I think I asked all mine.
Okay. In that case, we're going to move on to the next one. The Phantom Liberty DLC. Okay.
The new stuff.
So, the new stuff. Okay. So, with Phantom Liberty, I'm not going to go into too many spoilers, okay? Because this game DLC just came out a few days ago, and I haven't fully played it all myself because the hard drive kind of, broke because
Lit.
of reasons.
All that cyberware.
Yeah. But yeah, I suffered a crash and my hard drive is not doing so good, so gonna have to wait until I get a new SSD to continue playing for performance reasons. So in Phantom Liberty, the way that you get to this area is by completing one of the last missions for the Voodoo Boys. Once you finish that one, you go to the southern area and go east. And in that area is a gate for Dogtown. The subdistrict in Pacifica called Dogtown, which is guarded by the Barghest, who I mentioned are basically former Militech and mercenaries and other people looking for work, headed by the ruler, whose name is Kurt Hansen. This guy is one of the most intimidating figures, I feel, because he is able to hold a whole subdistrict by himself, and there's like no other gang that really comes into can't really contest it as much. Like they basically hold like the Voodoo Boys like hostage when it comes to their amount of influence over the area. So in this place, you're just looking for more work, and an important individual called Songbird like stops you, and she says, "I have the cure for you." To which you say, "That seems extremely promising." And when you go to this place, something extremely crazy happens, which I will spoil because it's just like 2 seconds into the game. The NUSA's president, Space Force One, AV aerial vehicle gets like crashed down. Second panel, and everyone is looking for blood. They want her dead, basically, or at least held hostage. So what you do in this part of the game is you rescue her, and you work as a spy in the most spy thriller part of this DLC, and you get close to so you can take on Dogtown's ruler, Kurt Hansen, who used to be like big up in the ranks. And at this point, you meet a guy called Solomon Reed, who has a connection with Songbird, who also works for the NUSA president. He is a fixer, and him and Songbird go back. And at this point in the game, you take one of the coolest missions out there and have to make a really, really big choice. Which I will keep my lips sealed on this. But basically, the DLC endings end in one of 4 ways. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And they are basically whether or not you choose to side with a particular person and how you decide to side with particular person. Okay? Songbird and Solomon Reed both have a cure for you, and they will give it to you, but you have to choose how to maneuver this this I don't want to spoil it, so I don't think I'm going to go that far into it, okay?
It's dope.
But- yeah. Basically what I'm trying to tell you is this $30 DLC is worth it, okay?
Okay.
Like, game came out, I
Oh,
pre-ordered
man.
it,
Mhm.
but someone stole
you
it
mean
in my
the
Amazon
$70
packaging.
beta? Yeah.
I bought the $60 beta,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
someone stole it in the mail, so I didn't get to actually play it. And then
Oh.
the game came out at a discount at half price, so I bought it for $30, the
Wait.
good beta. And then I bought beta part 2 a few days ago. Well, actually, my friend bought it for me, and then the game was complete.
Yeah.
Finally, the game's
Crazy.
released.
Finally.
What a tragic tale.
$30
Fin-
pre-order, and I finally get to play the other $30 part of the pre-order
Mhm.
a few days ago.
$60.
And I gotta say, $60. At least
Well,
it's not
actually,
70.
90
Yeah, at least it's not-
technically.
At least it's not
Yeah.
70. At least it doesn't have microtransactions.
No microtransactions, just the normal $60, which is still a lot, but still you can get it on sale. Yeah.
Technically, if you don't want the DLC, it's only $30.
Mhm.
But you
Yeah.
need DLC because the DLC is the full game. So,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So with all 4 of these endings, the one that you
I mean, it's a
choose
release.
will influence the last ending that you can get. So with that, I'm going to talk about the other endings first. So the 4 endings are marked with the tarot cards that one of your friends
Oh.
gives to you.
Amy Rose should be happy with this one.
The devil is basically the person's like complete will to survive, like willing to do like the primal urge to survive in whatever way that they can. You know what I mean?
It's necessary. Yep.
So they could mean like a good thing, because like even though it's called the devil, it's not really just the devil. It's really just like the basic instinct to just do whatever you can in order to guarantee that you'll make it through. This is represented with Arasaka. Arasaka has a deal that could supposedly save you, while in other endings, you can choose the sun, which is to become the best merc in Night
Mhm.
City. The sun symbolizes success. It is the card of freedom, and it is a future that lies like ahead for you as a mercenary.
Mhm.
You know? It also represents truth, for its light will always pull back the curtain of the shadow that hides the world's secrets. Its greatness and splendor, you know? And that is well represented with the merc path that you choose in the sun, which is basically to say no to Arasaka's deal and find another way.
Mhm.
The star is the Aldecado's path, in which you reject Arasaka's deal and choose to see if the Aldecados can help you. And this culminates in one of the most complex endings I've seen mission-wise, because it's like, I think in my opinion, one of the most chill,
Mhm.
because you're like hanging out with the Aldecados and you plan like a raid to see if you can like bypass Arasaka and see if you can like make your own way through. It does feel like the most hopeful one, which is funny because the star is the card of hope.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
basically the light that shines the path home. It's inspiration, it's motivation, it gives you the strength to just keep going. So that's why it's named
That's why you
the
shoot
star.
for them.
Yeah.
And then
I gotta say,
temperance.
should I tell you guys about what the endings are, like in this one, because it's been out for like 3 years.
I mean, I spoiled all of
I mean, early access. The game like just
Yeah.
released.
Yeah, the game just released. You can't do that. So,
All right,
yeah.
in that case, I will.
Okay.
So, in
Not
the
too much
fourth,
detail, at least.
in the fourth ending,
Keep it at a minute.
Temperance is the ending in which you decide that Johnny can help you quite more than just yourself. And it is, I'd say, not my favorite ending for several reasons. But it's an ending that gives the game its own sense of balance, which is funny because Temperance is the card of balance.
Mhm.
It makes you feel that despite the struggle that you have with Johnny, Johnny himself has his own struggles as well, and both of you have to like make a compromise given the circumstances.
Mhm.
And it kind of gives like you a new perspective on life regarding like how Johnny's life is. And that's as much as spoiler I will go into that. And okay, but with Temperance, it's a card of balance. It's self-restraint or a shift towards a more mature state. And with Johnny, he is a bit of a narcissist. And
A bit.
when this ending happens, I'd say it gives like Johnny like one of the most mature character developments in the game compared to how he is normally roasting you. It shows that he's like matured in a way. Yeah. So, with all that being said, the DLC is out, and I think all of you should play it. Do you guys have any questions?
I want to play it.
Yeah. I need to restart
Man, the game just came
I need to
out.
restart
I
my
need to-
playthrough because it says
No,
in
you
update 2.0.
can't restart it. You
In update 2.0, you need to. It's best to restart so you can rebuild your character and everything. Even though I didn't get very far. Not yet. Mhm.
Yeah.
makes sense.
I don't know that I'll do another full 70-hour playthrough, but I think
I'll do
whenever
it
I get
for you.
around to getting the DLC,
Like
I'll boot
create
it
Yeah.
up just to check out the
I've-
ray tracing overdrive.
I've played
Oh,
this
God.
game for over 300 hours.
Good lord.
Goodness, are you like close to beating the amount of time you spent in Beat Saber at that point?
No, I think I have twice as many hours in Beat Saber.
Jeez.
Yeah. I go hard on that game.
Yeah.
Literally, it's literally like it's literally just my lifestyle playing Beat Saber.
Not VR chat.
I
Mm.
can't slice people, just blocks.
You can slice people in
Blocks are
Cyberpunk.
better.
You can't
That
slice
is true.
people
You
in
can technically
Cyberpunk.
go to.
It's a great
map where you
Cyberpunk's a
can.
great compromise.
Yeah, it is.
Between the two.
Yeah, it is.
Like
Just
one
no
you
VR.
socialize, one you slice, the other one you socialize by slicing.
Yep.
So yeah,
Do some
basically.
vigilante justice
That's
because
one way to
because
socialize.
God knows we need some.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot to mention in the world of Cyberpunk, the police are like so corrupt, which is also a path that we're going towards in real life.
Mm.
They don't handle crime so well in this game, but since the game is finally like fully released, they actually work better. You want me to tell you guys about the updates to the game?
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's
I'm
hear
here.
about the update.
Okay. So, I didn't include a slide for this because I just want to talk about it. You guys mind?
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't mind.
Okay. So, in the Cyberpunk 2.0 update, the cars are designed much better, and they have like more weight to them, in which that you can actually like drive them and they don't feel like EV cars because they're supposed to be ICE cars. So they're heavier. You can shoot from the windows, which is something that it should have had from the beginning. I don't know why it didn't have that. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's really weird.
Yeah.
Couldn't you do that in like a couple of the story missions? Just not
Yeah.
like in normal gameplay? So
Yes.
it was like it was already in there halfway. You
Yeah.
just couldn't do it.
Yeah, it just wasn't free-handed. It was just scripted. So I'm like, I get it. That's cool, but GTA did that like in 2001. 2001.
2001 the GTA.
Listen, the
Let's
game
go.
is
22 years of progress.
Listen, the game's finally out now. So also the police don't like teleport behind you.
Oh, that was the
When I
funnest part
started
about it.
playing it,
You mean they
When I
got a tech downgrade?
Instant transmission.
they decided to be lore accurate by giving them like the budget in which they had to like actually walk to the area because they can't even afford cars because they're so
That's-
under budget.
It's really
That's
sad.
hilarious.
Yeah. So like that's when I was playing the game. Like they'd show up like with a little machine would show up and start shooting at you. In 2.0, they show up like in the streets. They walk around in the streets. At like other like levels, they show up with their cars. Later on, they show up with more squad cars, and then later, MaxTac, which is like the SWAT team equivalent of our real life, shows up with their AV carrier and drop down and start like busting you up because they think you're like a cyber psycho at this point. Which, if you're at that high of a crime level, you probably are a cyber psycho.
Maybe.
Yeah. You can even like hear like the radio chatter, like telling you like where they'll be. Like as if you have like a pulse to the ground. It's like, oh, I have this like extra special police radio listening to where they could be, and then you like try to avoid them on your mini map like you do in GTA. Yeah. So that's cool. The combat AI is much stronger. The net runners who are trying to hack you have like more agency. The tech that you use in your cyberware is much like more downgraded, but specialized in a way that makes the game feel a bit more fresh. Like you can only hold so much in your body. You can't like deck yourself out like you are like David Martinez unless you got a perk that lets you like go over the cap. But even then, you still have a cap. You just have more space. The skill tree is like now a skill tree. You have to put points into the tree to have and put points into certain perks to get access to the other perks. And melee is much, much better. Like early game, you would die to like literally anybody with a gun. But now
Yeah.
you have like dashes that you can use to like dodge bullets.
Ooh.
You can deflect bullets.
Let's go.
You can use what else was it? You can use this little thing called like the spider jump to like get rid of people without having to put a perk into it. You can air dash and like increase your mobility by doing so. What else was there? There was a rework of like the guns. You have to like consume your stamina to shoot, which is interesting because normally you just shoot and you wouldn't run out of stamina. So it's like hitting someone with your blade. You actually have to like use your energy to do it. Yeah. And
Makes
one other thing, one like huge thing I was going to bring up that I totally forgot. If you have an old save, you can take your old save and respec so that you can have a shot at this. Like again, the net running also, I forgot to mention this, has an overheat mechanic. So basically you would do something like Cream here and just like look at just one guy, scan him to scan like the whole team, and then just like short
pop.
circuit each one. Now you can't do that. You can't just kill one person at a time. It doesn't do as much damage, and it takes more RAM to do. And if you want to use more RAM that you don't have, you have to like burn your own health to do it, which adds more risk to being a net runner. And they can track you much easier when you use your hacks.
They really just got rid of my whole play style.
Yeah, they just took this and just like ended your whole career.
Yeah, I was about
As
to
a
say
net
this. Ended your whole career.
Man, I loved just looking at the opponent and they would just melt and I didn't actually have to do anything. Imagine playing the game
I don't got time for that.
Imagine playing
when
the
you could
game
just
in a
look
corner.
at them and they just explode in a spark of electricity.
Disappear.
Yeah.
Disappear.
Maria.
I
So,
didn't
yeah.
ask how big the room was. I said I cast fireball.
Ball. Should not hear
Yeah.
me. Fireball. All right.
So if you can't like get the DLC, you have access to all these gameplay changes in the free update. Yeah, so have at that if you want.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'd say we're pretty much done here. So, yeah. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Or listening, depending on what format you're in.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for attending our second lecture episode.
Everyone,
These
a
are
round
pretty
of applause
fun.
for whiskey. Just yeah, that was amazing.
Woo.
Yeah, thanks.
The applause sound effect is not going to show up in the recording, so I'm going to have to add an applause sound effect.
That was
Yeah,
one
I'll take
loud
it.
applause.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Hope you'll join us back next week
Hopefully go
for
play
another
the official
normal
release.
episode.
Yeah.
But be sure to stay tuned for more lecture episodes. They're on the way, and they'll show up on the Sour Cream and Onion YouTube channel so that you can see them in their full glory with all the beautiful slides.
Yeah. So keep your eyes out for that. And make sure you support the official release of Cyberpunk. So,
It's such a good show and game.
And-
Please
Okay.
consume all things Cyberpunk. Please.
We're not sponsored by CD Projekt Red.
Not yet, at
Disclaimer.
least.
In fact, we're probably this sponsored. We're doing a terrible job.
I think I made my case. Bye.